last official act for you.
Thanks. I still remember it.
That's why I wanted to do, that's why I wanted to do it early in the meeting.
That's funny.
Okay, no guess. Minute approval, public hearing, August 19th, 2024.
I didn't see any changes, I'll move to accept.
Yeah, I'll second.
Vote. Gene.
Yes.
PJ.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, and then we have the meeting, minutes from the regular meeting of August 19th.
Once again, I don't see anything. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Gene.
Yes.
PJ.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, schedule reports, Frank Kitco, zoning inspector.
Very short, gentlemen. We processed 10 applications for the month, bringing the total to the year of 108. Spent quite a bit of time on two cases that you are aware of, and with dealing with correspondence in the prosecutor's office. That's it.
Questions for Frank? Okay, trustee and fiscal officer reports, Mr. McHugh.
I will relate my time to Mr. Kavanaugh. I have nothing.
I have just a couple of things. One is Patty Carlton was here at the last meeting. There were two different opinions as to what she was talking about as far as water going onto her property. One was, I think, from our detention pond by the fire station road department. And then, of course, there's some silt or dredging work being done at the other end of her property. I thought she was talking about this. I have not walked the property with her, but I did walk it. And it's mostly a case of water going downhill. We have a spillway there.
Yes.
There's
Some of it goes to the retention pond, and some of it bypasses it.
Yeah, there's a about a 12-inch plastic pipe maybe?
Yep.
Okay, that one looks like it's flowed some water recently. And then there's a swamp that's, or, you know, it looks like something she used to mow but doesn't anymore, probably about the size of this room.
If you remember right,
But her complaint was
20 years ago, she had the same problem when I was trustee the
Yeah.
first time, and I walked it with her. And what, I think her complaint was that we had piled cinders or something, whenever we had something piled that was blocking and sending water to
The
her.
asphalt grinding.
And that's what I actually thought she was talking about again this time.
I mean, she has a big pipe going under her driveway. We have the one dumping out, I don't know, 40 feet away maybe. And in between, there's just a buildup of grass over the year. So, and that seems to be what's slowing the water down. But she was complaining about the pasture. Well, water's gonna end up there anyway because it's downhill. I don't know, I'll get
Well,
with
her
her.
complaint was she never had that problem before.
Well, yeah,
Right.
the water's been going downhill for a long time. I'll talk to her again, I don't know if we can.
Well, PJ, if I could, on the other issue, she has called me 5 times, 3 times.
At the west end.
3 times I have told her she needs to get a survey done, that I cannot, it's not my area of expertise is not verifying the property line. That has to be done by a surveyor. And I gave her three surveyors' names, and 2 days later she called again, and so I actually text messaged her their phone numbers that I had, and my wife actually looked them up while I was on the phone. We text. So I don't know, the property is recently changed hands, and she doesn't get along with the new buyers from what I understand, and there's
Was that on the north side of her?
No,
It's the west end.
it's the west end,
Oh, behind, on the other side?
yeah, way back. If you, it's way back off the road.
Yes.
You can see
You can
where
see
they
it
were.
though. You can see there's
Anyway,
something
so
on
I,
Is it a water issue again, or?
well, she's claiming that they might be piling dirt on her property, and there again, I can't verify one way or the other her exact property line, she just had a survey done, you know. But, he does have all the necessary permits from the Army Corps, the EPA, and soil and water, you know, to what he's doing as far as the dredging and cleaning of the lake or pond. And I know soil and water has been monitoring it, and we receive a report from them, you know, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's not, they're not doing anything
But they would know if they were putting dirt on her property.
right, you would think, so.
Can you tell from the GIS map whether it's in the ballpark or?
It's close, but I think they're okay. I think they're okay. I mean, it appears that they're okay from what we can see. Now, we know the property lines on the GIS can be off as much as 20, 25 feet, but, you know, it appears that everything that they're doing, as far as their drawings go and everything, they're in compliance as far as we can tell.
Yeah, the other thing I had was, you know, we closed the window for applications for road department and contacted the prosecutor's office. We can do those, and we can do those interviews in executive session. So I think Nancy's been with both of them. We got a date set up for next start when our guys are off work, right as they end. And we should be done by 7 at the latest, I would think.
Okay. So we have a normal meeting, going to
Yeah.
executive session with the reason,
To interview applicants for.
Close after that?
Positions, yes.
and we won't do any business before or after that other than the interviews.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, she's got the ad in already, so we're good there. All right. That'll be the 10th.
That it, PJ?
That's it.
That's the 10th?
Yep.
You got Dan?
Okay, as of today, since our meeting on August 19th, I processed 4 electronic payments totaling $32,450.92, and I issued 27 warrants totaling $369,509.38 for a total of $1,960.30. The August bank reconciliation showed in our primary checking $2,137,647.09. In our Star Ohio account, $1,201,605.61. Here's a copy of the reconciliation for your signatures for my file. Also, just want to report that, you know, for the past 6 months, we've had auditors doing a financial audit of our 2022-2023 financials. That's now been completed. Preliminary results were sent to me, and I emailed those to all the trustees last week for your review. I figure after you take a little more time to review them, and I take a little more time to review them, and have a more comprehensive report in one of our future trustee meetings. And that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Dan? All right, we'll go into old business. ZC 2024-01. We had a public hearing on that, but we did not have our notice in the paper in a timely fashion. So the public hearing we had never existed. And the zoning commission is going to have to resend that to us, and we're gonna have to go through the whole thing starting from scratch.
I think that was storm related, that was,
Yeah, that was, right, you know.
the day of that big windstorm. I told Nancy, I said, even if you'd driven it up there and put it on the desk, you know, day before time, man, I'm not sure that would've got printed anyway. There was,
Yeah, we did
people were
have it,
disoriented then.
I agree with PJ, just said absolutely.
and we did have it posted on our website, which is also one of our legal places for putting notices. However, that is not adequate for the purposes of a zoning hearing, so. Anyway, they're gonna, at some point in time, we'll be sending that back to us.
They have to reinitiate the whole thing, so
Yeah.
they have to go through
They have to go through their process. So don't anybody bury anybody in the backyards until they get this rectified.
Don't tell anybody about it.
Contrary to Ohio law, it can be done.
That's right. They were just, that whole thing was just a bad couple, was already law.
Yeah, it can be done, I mean. it's-
Okay, we're sending my statement, if you've got to bury anybody in your backyard, do it now. Okay, new business, resolution 2024-22, accepting amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, so the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township of Geauga County are meeting in their regular session on the 3rd day of September 2024. Present are Michael Troyan, Patrick J. Kavanaugh, Eugene McCune. Whereas, the Geauga County, Ohio, in accordance with the provisions of the law, has previously adopted a tax budget for the next succeeding fiscal year commencing on January 1st, 2025. And whereas the Budget Commission of Geauga County, Ohio, has certified its action thereon to this board together with an estimate by the county auditor for the rate of each tax necessary to be levied by the board and what part thereof is without and what part within the 10 mil tax limitation. Therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township of Geauga County that the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission in its certification be and the same are hereby accepted, and be it further resolved that there be and is hereby levied on the tax duplicate of said Auburn Township the rate of each tax necessary to be levied within and without the 10 mil limitation as follows. Okay, in the inside millage general fund, amount to be derived from levies is $552,060 and no cents. In the inside millage road and bridge levy, which is a levy fund, I should say, which is a 1.6 mil, $630,926.00. And the amounts to be approved by the Budget Commission outside the 10 mil limitation. Road and bridge, total of 4 mills, $1,074,360.00. Fire levy, 3.5 mills, $940,065.00. And the fire and emergency levy fund, $497,857.00. And that's the 1.80 mil levy. And in Schedule B, the levies outside the 10 mil limitation, we have a 2006 levy authorized by the voters on November 3rd, 2020. 1 mil will generate $268,590. The other road and bridge levy voted on November 8th, 2022. 1 mil will generate, again, $268,590. Fire levy fund authorized by the voters on May 4th, 2010 is a continuing levy. 3.5 mils will generate $940,065. And then another road and bridge fund authorized by the voters on November 8th, 2022 is a 2 mil levy, will generate $537,180. And then the final fire levy fund levy authorized by voters on November 3rd, 2020. 1.8 mils will generate $497,857. So, board needs to certify this and need a motion and then a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And then there's a certificate, a copy, and then we have to send this into the auditors. Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We have franchise fees received from Charter Communication, amount of $4,905.14. I'll make a motion to place that into the Land Acquisition and Improvement Fund.
I'll second.
Gene?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. And we have a quote received from Weaver Tree, and that's to remove this.
Yeah, the maple at the far corner here of the cemetery. We looked at taking that out after the big storm in, I believe that was 2018. It looked pretty intact and slightly healthy then.
Not so much now.
Look at it now, it's really deteriorated. And in that windstorm back in early August, a big limb fell into the neighbor's yard. Fortunately, no damage, but it's taken aim at that house. And, we did check around too. We made some phone calls and from 2 other tree companies in the area, and they were all in the $3,000 range. So, you know, we just kind of did a price check.
Well, Weaver's been very good.
Weaver's been
to us over
very
the years.
good, and, yeah, Weaver's been real good, so, and they're right in line with everybody else's prices as well. So I'll make a motion that we have Weaver Tree come and remove that cemetery maple at a price of $2,850.
I'll second.
Gene?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yep. Okay. And for the save the dates, 9/5, the BZA meeting at the administration building at 7:30. I believe that should be PM, not AM.
No.
Is that an AM?
It is. That's a BZA one? The
Yeah.
BZA one, it's in the morning.
7 o'clock in the
At
morning?
7:30?
Oh.
30 a.m.?
7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wait,
7:30.
I swear that the didn't told me.
Okay, 7:30 in the morning.
It is in the morning,
At 7:30.
I swear that's what you told me.
Well, maybe if we go to work afterwards.
You know what, I'll go look. I have the legal ad, I'll look.
I don't know, it's just, usually they do all their stuff in the afternoon, so that kind of jumped out at me when I saw AM, especially at 7:30.
I think this meeting is.
I'm locked out of my office.
If I'm not mistaken, this meeting is strictly to approve minutes, that's all, no case, no. Because of, you know how the time, 30 days.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's what it's for, because she mentioned it to me. She had to try to get a quorum, because the meeting that was supposed to be was canceled, so.
Well, that's when she starts, so that does make a little bit
Yeah,
of
it's like
sense.
not the food, it's not,
Huh?
it's not an important, food
No,
truck,
it's,
right?
it's,
It's
no,
just-
it's strictly
To approve minutes?
I believe.
Yeah, I think Jeff will be
We'll get back to that.
I need to be.
9:10 was a special meeting of the Board of Trustees at the Administration Building at 3:30 PM.
That's more
Again,
like it. That's more like it.
Yeah, more reasonable time.
Yeah.
9:10, BZA meeting, Auburn Administration Building at 7 PM.
Is that where you're going to have the interviews? Did you say that was 9:10?
We're gonna, yeah, on
9:10
on
to
the
3:30.
10th at 3:30.
Oh, at
that'll-
3:30, thank you.
Yeah, that'll be executive session.
Okay, 9:16, Board of Trustees meeting, the Administration Building at 7:30 PM. 9:21, the Auburn Volunteer Fire Department Annual Clam Bake, pre-sale tickets only. 9:26, Zoning Commission meeting at the Administration Building at 7 PM. 9:28 will be the community picnic and Jump in the Trunk Fest from 10 AM to 5 PM.
7:30 AM.
Okay. All right. 21, BZA meeting at Adam Hall at 7 PM. And 10:08 is the BZA meeting at Auburn Administration Building at 7 o'clock. And going back to the 9/5 BZA meeting, that will be at the Administration Building at 7:30 AM. Okay. On that note, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Comments?
See if there's any comments first.
Who's got any comments? They want to get to the cake.
Need a motion?
That was a motion, yes.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
BJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. I just wanted to do that first before we started talking anything about John Zoka, because I didn't want those as part of the minutes. You don't want anything on your permanent record, John?
Isn't gonna matter at this point now anyhow.
How many years
You never know, he may be off for a month and say, I can't stand this anymore. I want to come back.
He was saying that today, oh no.
No, I wasn't.
Well, now John's
loading
leaving.
trucks all over.
Emmer came back to put in his application.
I did?
Did you?
Well, that was part of the advantage breach.
It's probably Emmer's wife came back to put his application in. It was your wife that came back to put in your application.
Hey, John, how many years have you been with the township? I mean, working for us?
Since 1978, as a subcontractor, I started working for the township.
Yep. Yeah, and then,
Well, I have your date wrong then. I have 2000. Did they like hire you part-time though?
Yeah, I was part-time, but
Plow
as,
it in the winter.
I was a subcontractor for quite a
forever.
few years.
You have 2009.
I know, but by the time I started here, I mean, you were just like,
Oh,
always,
was that the?
you're one of those people that was like always here, so.
I was like, what do I say here?
Subcontractor / consultant overall. Before you actually
No, my
started.
father was the consultant.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No, just kidding.
I always feel nostalgic at stuff like this because you just see how fast time is going. John and I went to kindergarten in the basement of the Auburn Community Church, and we blinked, and here we are retiring and everything in the township. It really went fast, didn't it, John?
Yes, it did.
I always tell my kids that, enjoy every day, because you just wake up one day and you say, where did that go? How did it go so fast? But it certainly is going fast. I've known John, not only from kindergarten, his dad, and I said this last meeting, the McCune compound down off of Munn Road, Edward Lane, which is named after my grandfather, John's dad built that road for us. And he also built a lake for us. And then my uncles and dad helped them build their house. So it's like trading stuff. And so it's been a long venture and a good one. And congratulations, John.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate all you've done for us over the years. And to show our appreciation, we bought you a cake. Thank you. And not everybody gets a cake. No, Emmer got one, but we made him pay for his own.
Well, if I would've known that, I'd have had 2 pieces.
Well, you can have 2 pieces, you have to pay for the second one.
No, Mark said he'd have his.
And if we feel old, just imagine how Frank feels.
Got y'all beat your start years anyway. I even got John beat.
When did you start your Frank?
We celebrated my mother-in-law's 96th birthday.
Wow, good for her.
77.
The women in my family all make it into the 90s. The men are usually caught by 72, so I'm on borrowed time.
Yeah, I would say, man.
Well, I look at it this way. I don't drink, I don't smoke, have no fun, so I'll probably live to be 100.
And miserable.
Miserable.
Yeah, all that stuff they say, you know, every cigarette you smoke takes out this much time, every drink you. That's all true, I never would have been born.
When do you want? You sure? No, you.
I don't know, everything's changed. I saw this little kid at the fair yelling at his parents about he couldn't do this, and he couldn't do that. He was about 10 years old. And I said, you got it easy. I said, when I was your age, I told my dad I was running away from home. He flipped me a quarter and he said, take your brother with me.
You know, things were a lot simpler back then. Remember when Jody was, you know, she just had it with the kids and everything else. That's it, I'm leaving. This is when Jenny and, you know, the oldest ones were like 9 and 10. And so she walked out the door and the kids go, you need gas money?
If I lived in, you know?
You will.
Well, the best teacher I ever had in school was the guy I'm sitting right next to's grandmother. She was unbelievable. I still remember her.
Yes, she was.
What is it?
Yes. Who else said that? You know, Bobby Golf said that the other day.
Absolutely.
She
She was strict, but she was,
Yeah, he comes out on Sundays, we see him around, the old neighborhood, you know. Where's he live? Twinsburg, isn't it? Somewhere like that.
who's that?
Bob Golf.
Solon. He lives on the ABC streets in Solon. Telephone.
He brought out,
The mute button on this works as good as it does on the
he brought out, and we have them in the museum, but I don't think they're in this kind of condition.
So what are you gonna do, John?
Yearbooks from
I already started today.
the early 40s.
Cleaning up my yards.
Cleaning up the yard across the street, cleaning up everything.
He
What do you
worked
mean
a
by
full
that?
day
No.
today.
They're making the rounds down on Valley Road now.
I'm just so excited to be taking his own job.
He made me work.
I would definitely work. Well, the house he changes the life schedule completely.
PJ will be in charge.
My mother-in-law,
Sure did.
she was one of those people that did spring cleaning or the spring cleaning. Watching down the
Thursday
valves.
to 12.
There were winter breaks, summer breaks, you know.
Winter blankets, summer blankets.
My granddaughter started school down there.
Oh, wow.
So when he went down, he was visiting
This is the way you want to know.
her. She went there
Oh, my
with her
God.
boyfriend.
What school? What's the school?
That was good shape,
Charleston, College of Charleston?
Got Randy from.
Yes.
It was,
Didn't have university, I think it's that, but just called College of Charleston.
There were a lot of people.
David's gonna be a lot of Saturdays. They were overemployed.
Yeah, her boyfriend,
We did enough, but it was terrible.
he's part of the Dunn family. Is in
The fair was wonderful. I mean, it actually was kind of nice down there, but
His grandfather's a doctor and his
It was
dad's a
hot.
doctor. And he's going to be a doctor.
This year they didn't have as many.
you would too.
they put in the kitty racks.
Oh, really?
And they want a lot of the fires
Yeah, so
coming.
go down there, sit there for a few days,
So
and
we
then
had
we're
to
gonna
walk
top
all
sale
the way
for the
across the
beach.
back to get an eye out.
Almost
Think
Canfield.
about calling some.
We were almost in town before we got to,
Been thinking about
go around
calling.
the fairgrounds. The pumpkin town, when he did show pumpkins, it was gone.
Right.
They ripped it down, they're putting up new, I assume.
Wow. Kansas or the base that's south of Charleston. So he was happy for it.
Oh, yeah.
I was there all.
Got it all back
I was there
together.
all week, or you.
I saw 10
There was
days.
some kid in the fair yesterday.
The youngest one was
He had the
45
same
days. And the
scruffy
oldest
beard,
one was
same
90.
beard
I love that.
like the police. It looked like a, honest to God, I walked past him and I turned around.
Yeah, where the tracks are dropped.
No, wait, that can't be.
He said he was going next year,
Same
Sunday night,
size.
skip school and fish all night tomorrow.
There was
Really?
no transportation
Oh,
in
you
the
did.
field.
You wouldn't
Yes.
Okay, I thought you wanted to go.
Yeah.
You got some-
You usually
we
have
got some
tractors that
stuff
go
going
out.
on at the house with some critters.
None of them.
Critters?
What? We had to
Critters got it?
Our work on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Goats have ring.
Because I
Little
worked
bit.
days and I made
And
great.
so does he now.
So I've ended up with it, he's ended
When
up
I
with
see
it,
a
his
little
ended
person.
up with it.
When you go up to
Speaking of that, how old are you?
Yeah.
No, she said,
It's fun, it's like, it's like
senior day, she
athlete's
said,
foot.
well,
Traction
how did you know I
control
was a
like that,
senior?
so
And I
it's
said,
just a-
What year
I
was that?
qualified for
Treated
it,
the
so
same way with
therefore I
the
said,
cream.
you're pretty close.
2012
But
Ford
we'll have to
Station
come
Runner.
years
Love
later.
that.
My,
And she
equipment only
said,
goes
"No,
up.
So his is, it's going away now, looks pretty good. The goats are starting to get cleared up.
Wow, well, that's what I'm trying to.
Got goat break.
Yeah, we're gonna move the goats this
Mechanic
weekend
school is getting like an impact.
over to Pat's house in the front.
Keep trying
We're
to
gonna
get
put
it
up
to
a,
be, but they're like, they're all
I'm
so
getting ready to put it up on my neighbor's property.
Really?
They got my field cleaned off pretty well.
I don't see you smile.
It's all brown grass. They got everything green, mowed down to mow. They've got a foot outside the fence mowed, sticking their heads through the fence. All the way around, 1 foot out from the fence, they have it. You can see it's
I went to.
trimmed out, beautifully cleaned off.
And I carry it.
That's
I
what we
carry
need to
24
figure
I talked to them all
Oh yeah, you can't run a weed eater next to woven fence anyhow, but they've got it all cleaned off both sides. And,
My floor
so,
jack.
in fact, before we came here, we went back to the neighbors and I asked them, I said, "It's a section of brush over on the other side of your, on the other side of my, between your driveway and mine.
Anytime
Is this, promise me setting up a temporary fence around that and, put my goats over
I
there?"
drive the dog around on the weekends,
He
but
goes-
basically his whole life had rains.
No, I really don't think I would.
It's kinda like the spirit.
Gonna clear it out for you and fertilize while they're there. He goes,
Okay,
go ahead.
Be full price.
So, this, before the weekend, I'm gonna go out and start putting, I'll put up the fence, and then this weekend I'll move the hut over and move them over to that side.
I've waited too long.
Put
That's
the
been good to me.
electric fence tender, I don't even have an electric fence on the woven fence.
The way the weather is around here, it's never really done, there's
I have
always.
one goat that gets out. It's the littlest one, and I'm pretty sure it sneaks past the hole on the, in the building. And it doesn't go anywhere, it stays on the outside of the fence and eats out there.
10 minutes across my driveway.
So,
Basically, the people on the street, $20 a push. It's buy to push.
so we're,
Sure
did.
Listen, I want to go across the street,
Yeah, the Friday before the storm, I got
it's $100 a
from Columbus, and I
And at the end of the season, he used the.
So he said you can accessorize tornado shelter as well as preparedness. You can get lights, you can get a generator, back to the radio, weather radio. So I got that on Friday from him, and Saturday I bought the weather station, one of those weather radios. Monday I
No,
bought a
those are in the barn.
solar-powered generator portable station, something, but I don't know, then I bought a ham radio.
they're either in the,
weather
they're either in the
radio
barn or in the garage.
we let the tornadoes come, and I used this damn power station for 4 days.
You can't set a lot of
It's like,
I
I'm so glad.
Great. It's like,
Yes, I had a ham right now.
I meant to call you, like I said.
that works great.
I saw it.
Yeah, my kid came on certain ways.
This is how crazy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, no, they probably would offer 200 bucks.
Cody and I and this
Doesn't
guy.
seem like it's that old, but this guy's old.
Yeah.
I mean, a 12-year-old French would got 35,000.
So I got two interesting
Okay, we picked up the.
vehicles at the house right now and I have to work on. I'm working on. Buy from Farmer's Portable. Brought me a Low Pro International T4. I work 44 E's, 7.3. I'm pretty sure it's an ounce. Keeps blowing these fuses.
I was by Cody
I'm pretty sure I got that one figured out.
to come over with the grant, they're all four in there.
Yes, note on the dashboard. Warning, truck will start in any year.
I know Jack.
I'm taking out the Jody.
Bye, guys.
So it should.
Then they tried to give me some.
Oh, it's an automatic.
I said, yeah, I Googled online, blowing T4 to 44E, blowing fuses. There's so many cases of the neutral safety switch. So I slid underneath, well, the wire had fallen out of the neutral safety switch. And the insulation was worn back on the other side. They just wrapped the wire around the other side so to complete the circuit so you can still start the truck. Well, the frays were touching on the bow housing of that switch. So I yanked the other wire off of it and I got them crimped together right now. But I'm gonna tell the guy he needs to get a neutral safety switch. And then yesterday, yes, here's the top start. Yes, it's a stick, it's an automatic. Yesterday, Isaac calls me. He calls Jeff and we're out getting pallets.
That's a
To build a
There's a guy, I couldn't think of his name, the guy.
He goes, there's a food truck here on a trailer. Yeah, it's supposed to be. He goes, when does Dad start working on cool stuff like food trucks? This guy bought this food truck, he's got around $60,000 already invested in this truck because of the equipment that's in the back.
He's at the fair every year.
And it won't go over 30 miles an hour.
You see that workers' comp thing?
And they added an AV tire and they put a fuel pump in it, but
Not where you were.
they didn't fix it, so he's not, they weren't sure what to do after that. So they just made him pay for the pump.
That Eastern Star.
Looking at the webinar.
John Ralph's working there. Lou
He goes, he got called every shop between here and Indiana, and nobody worked on the truck. Tell him to bring it out to my house, I'll work on it. I said, if the guy can't find anybody to work on it, I'll work on it. I said, but he's gonna pay me. I said, if nobody else will work on it, I can pretty much name my price whatever I
Well, I've
want.
been trying to be good with it.
I went home and I spent like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, probably just needs a box. Thinks it's lean on one bank and it's,
Well,
it,
Joni Wynn.
First
you
one
can
they
smell it's
said,
like a big rich.
She's
Because it doesn't have any cats on it. Somebody took this, it's probably a Grumman van body chassis, you know, food truck chassis, or truck chassis. Yeah, whatever, one of those type of, one of those trucks, like that, exactly. But it's like, it's probably a Grumman body, it's just, and I don't know what engine it was in there originally, but the one that's in there is not the one that was in there originally, because somebody notched the frame at the top to fit the exhaust manifold from this.
Double digits.
What is it?
When I plugged into it, it comes up as a 2001 Tahoe. It's just a 350 Chevy. But then,
Plug in, man.
suck up on the dash. I knew exactly what harness was in it and everything. I knew it was a painless harness. I knew there should be an OBD.
All right, I'm gonna go on.
So,
Thank you.
and then he goes, yeah, when you get up to about 30 miles, when you start getting up to about 30 miles an hour, it's the front end starts shaking. When I walked past it yesterday and I saw the bias blind tires on the front, I knew why they were shaking. They shook when they were new and they're ancient. They're like 675 something, 16 and a half.
Even 16
and a half. We're gonna have to probably find 16-inch wheels.
Two people that.
Or 17-inch wheels.
No, what you need to show up now for houses is fire truck or any of them, because you're doing all sorts of